everybody, thank you so much for clicking on this video. So today we're keeping it simple and we are just answering some of your questions. So recently I went on Instagram and I just asked you guys to ask me anything about fitness, specifically for a YouTube video. So thank you all for participating. So today we're gonna try and get through as many as possible. And part of the reason I wanted to make this video is obviously to answer your questions, right? The other reason is that I want to help you guys understand how to ask better questions to get better answers. I wanna preface this video by saying that in no way am I shaming anybody for asking a question that might not be super specific. I am not judging anybody for the questions that they ask. The goal of this video is to help you understand how to ask better questions, understand what creators are actually giving you quality answers, and really just helping you like weed through the bullshit that is the fitness industry. So if I come off like sassy or snarky in any way, it is not a personal attack on you. Part of it is just my personality, and I like to get a little heated as I'm answering questions. So let's jump in. I love you all. I just asked this yesterday, so I'm gonna see if there's any final questions. There are a few additional ones. First question, signs your trainer isn't a good fit for you. I think I wanna answer this in more of a positive way because obviously I don't know you, I don't know your goals, I don't know what you enjoy. So I'm gonna answer this in the way of signs of a good trainer. So the first thing I would say is that you want a trainer who's gonna explain why you're doing things. If you just have a trainer who's giving you a workout and they're not explaining any of the why behind it, I'm not saying you need to understand like exercise science completely and exercise programming completely, but I think that people should have a general understanding of why their trainer is selecting exercises. And if you're interested in it, like why are we doing things in certain orders, right? And that's gonna depend on you and how much you actually wanna know. But the reason that I think this is important is because the goal of a trainer should not be to have them like tied to you for the rest of your life. Eventually, you're not gonna have that client anymore and you wanna be able to empower them with the knowledge to move on after you whenever that is and kind of fend for themselves. So I think if you're a trainer and you're building your training and your business off of making people tethered to you, I don't necessarily think you're in it for the right reason. Another sign of a good trainer is a trainer who is not on their phone your entire session. I see this and have experienced this. And it's like, what is happening? That client is paying you what you asked for your time and you need to give it to them. Another sign of a good trainer is someone who isn't afraid to say, I don't know, or it depends. If your trainer knows everything, they probably don't. They're probably making it up. There's so many times where I have to say, I don't know, I'm gonna look that up and get back to you. And that's okay, like you don't want someone who knows everything because I'm telling you, no one knows everything. So if they're claiming they know everything, they don't have the wherewithal to admit when they're wrong or they don't know everything. Like you want someone who is always learning. Next question, does more muscle equal stronger? It depends. I think the first thing we have to ask is like, what does stronger mean? Is stronger squatting 500 pounds? Is stronger lifting up your child from the floor? Is stronger holding a plank? Like what does stronger mean to you? Because also you're gonna meet bodybuilders who can squat double their body weight and are gonna have a lot of muscle mass for that. But then you're gonna put them in a Pilates class and they're probably not gonna do very well. And you're gonna go, oh, well, the Pilates people are stronger. So I think it depends on like what your measure of strength is, right? So I think that this is a way where you can really pick apart this question to get a better answer. What do you think of body pump and group power style classes? I don't know what those things are. But I think that if you enjoy them and they get you closer to your goals and they keep you consistent, they're fantastic. Who's your biggest role model in the fitness industry? I don't know. Okay, if I had to choose someone, and this is embarrassing because like I know her in real life and I just hope that she never sees this. And I wouldn't say role model, but someone I really respect and admire how they built their business is Charlie Atkins. We both came from group fitness. We both preach a lot of the same things. I think that she delivers a really high quality product while also keeping things simple. I think she's pretty awesome. I hope she doesn't see this. Please don't tell her. That's really embarrassing. What are your current fitness goals? Stay consistent. I just want to be consistent with my nutrition and my workouts, and that's it right now. And I know a lot of the times I preach like, you have to get specific with your goals to get a specific outcome, and I'm not wrong, because I think that people get really confused on specific, meaning complicated. and that's not what I mean at all. So I have a simple goal, right? I just want to be really consistent with my workouts. But let's get specific. What does that mean? I want to work out 3 to 4 times a week. So that means that I'm going to do my cardio day, and then I'm going to have 2 strength workouts at home, and then I'm going to go to the group fitness studio and take that class that I've been taking since January that I really love, and that's my workout schedule. As far as food goes and my nutrition, I'm going to make sure I have food in the house. If I have my groceries delivered, I know that I'm going to be consistent with my food. So again, a simple goal does not mean that it's not strategic or specific. There's a lot of S words. What advice would you give to future personal trainers and to those looking to start their own business? Practice. Practice on friends, practice on family, practice on people who will pay you cheap, or maybe you don't even feel comfortable asking for money yet. When I first got my personal training certification, I was already working in group fitness for like 3 years, mostly dance cardio. So I wasn't super comfortable with like programming workouts or really coaching people from a strength point of view, especially one-on-one. So I had like 3 or 4 clients that were all friends. I literally charged them $40, which pardon the interruption. Kevin's been away for like 8 or 9 days, so he just got home, so Zoe was very excited, as was I. Okay, what were we talking about? Oh, okay, so when I first started training, like 3 to 4 people, charging them $40, renting the space for $30, my subway cost was in like $5, so I was literally like basically breaking even, practicing coaching on people, but practicing one-on-one coaching with people and just doing it is the best way to get better. Keep your programming simple. Don't do any like crazy, weird things that you see on Instagram. You'll be fine. What kind of exercise do you think is best? Best for what? Like, what does best mean, right? Like, what are your goals? What are you trying to achieve? What do you enjoy? What do you have access to? So I can't really answer this question because I don't know what best means to you. Obviously, if you've seen my channel before in my videos, you know that I have a specific way that I enjoy training, which is functional training, which really just means training for daily life, right? Training with purpose, training for what your needs are, which really is a lot broader than people think. So I think if you can answer what best means to you, then I can answer the question. Is there any form of exercise you'd love to try but are too intimidated to? I've done a number of videos where I like test out different types of workouts, and those have all been really fun. I would really like to try Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, maybe just because Jordan Syatt does it now, but I feel like it's becoming really popular. I feel like it would be really difficult. I kind of want to try it, but I know that I'm going to be terrible at it, so it's very intimidating. Thoughts on rowing machines for people with knee issues. What's the knee issue, right? Like, knee issues encompasses thousands of different things that could be happening. So again, kind of impossible for me to answer. If you know that you have a specific issue with your knee, I would say go to your doctor or your physical therapist and ask them. But as long as you don't have an issue like bringing your knee into flexion, I don't really see why it would be an issue. Like, it's low impact, but it is going to be very repetitive on the joint. Yeah, I don't know. I think it all depends on like what your knee issue is. Is it needed to isolate our calves to develop them, or are big calves merely genetic? These are 2 different questions. Let's start with the genetic part. Are big calves merely genetic? Could be, could not be. I think that, yeah, it could be related to genetics, but you also do have some control over the size of your calves. And then, is it needed to isolate our calves to develop them? So by develop, I guess you mean like to build muscle in that area. If you want to build bigger calves and that's like a goal of yours, yeah, I think some isolated exercises thrown in are great. Personally, I don't think that most people need to be isolating their calves. I think that we get enough from the calf within our workouts. But if you're someone who is a dancer, you definitely want to help strengthen your calves, especially into that Achilles tendon. Same thing with runners. So I think like it kind of depends on what develop means to you. Like, is that build muscle? Is that performance related? But hopefully I answered your question in some of my rambling there. Is reformer Pilates beneficial for functional training? Beneficial. So I'm kind of reading this 2 different ways. Like, is reformer Pilates a good complement to functional training? And then maybe you're just asking, is reformer Pilates functional training? Both of those answers is 100% it depends. Because if we remember, what does functional training mean? Functional just means with purpose. So if you can justify why you're doing something and how it enhances your performance in your daily life, it's functional. Reformer Pilates has so many benefits. I made a whole video all about Pilates, but like the core strength, the stability that goes along with it, I think it's a fantastic option. And then if we're going back to the first interpretation of beneficial, meaning like, is it a good complementary exercise? Then in my mind, it's like, okay, were you thinking of functional training as like lifting weights? Then yeah, like it absolutely could be. But I guess I need to understand the question a little bit more. Like, what does beneficial mean when you're asking the question? Also, I know it's hard to fit like enough verbiage in that one little text box, but hopefully I covered the answer in there. If one wants to become a better group training instructor, your best tip. Ooh, okay, this is different, but also similar to the personal training one. Practice your classes over and over and over. I will never forget that my first job doing group fitness that was not just dance cardio was at a Megaformer studio. I've talked about them a while back on here, Form 50. I just don't work there anymore. I used to go into the studio when it was empty, so like late at night after all the classes were done, and I would turn on the lights and turn on the music, and I would do an entire class. I would do an entire class to the point where I would pretend there was a person on each machine, and I would go through and like we had specific questions and things we were supposed to ask them beforehand, like, you know, injuries and hands-on adjustments and things like that. And I would make up people on the machines. And then I would like get class started and I would practice my intro and then I would do an entire class. And I would pretend to give corrections and I would pretend to give modifications and progressions. And if I couldn't get into the studio, I would do it at home. Even today, if there's a tricky class, like if I know I have a pregnant client in a group fitness class or someone who's gonna need modifications, I go through and I actually verbally practice cueing these things and how can I quickly and efficiently and clearly cue these things with progressions or regressions and modifications for people. And if that right there seems like a lot of work and something that is ridiculous, group fitness is not for you. And I know that sounds really harsh, but you see so often these group fitness instructors who are just lazy, they're not paying attention, they don't really know their program. If you are not willing to put in that type of preparation, I really don't think that you should be in group fitness. How to deal with rest day guilt. Ooh, that's a good question. I have a whole video about rest right here. You have to just understand the bigger picture. If we're just talking about normal rest days, again, I talk all about it in that video, but there is no guilt that needs to be associated with rest. If you're not taking rest days from your workouts, you literally will not progress. Your body will not be able to recover. So if you think about it in the bigger picture, in the grand scheme of things, and stop associating movement with torture, you will see these rest days as a beautiful way to celebrate your body. I'm not saying it's easy, it takes work, but reframing your mindset is really important there. Is it okay to have days where I don't even move from the couch? Sure, I have days like that. I wouldn't make it every day, but yeah. What is your opinion on, is it Les Mills? I don't know what it is. So obviously I don't have an answer. Again, I think that if you enjoy it, it gets you closer to your goals, it keeps you consistent, it's great. How can I know if my trainings mess with my hormonal balance? We have so many different hormones that I don't really know where to start. I would say like, be aware if you menstruate, what's going on with that. Be aware of how your sleep is, be aware of your hunger cues, like just starting to take note of these things. Anything above that is out of my scope of practice. I do not really know shit about hormones besides the bare minimum. I'm not qualified to work with people to balance their hormones. If I'm being honest, the person who is qualified to help you with that is an endocrinologist. If you see someone online that says they are a hormone specialist or a hormone health coach, or they're gonna help balance your hormones, run. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about. There is literally no credential that has any merit that makes you a hormone coach, unless you are an endocrinologist, which is a doctor who specializes in hormones. Do not give people money who claim they're gonna help you balance your hormones, unless it's your fucking doctor. Not yelling at you, I'm getting heated because people take advantage of others far too much. Okay. How do you schedule rest in your workout routine? I actually walked through this again in that same video all about rest. To keep it short, I look at my work schedule. After that, I fill in where my workouts go. I look at how much movement I'm gonna be doing throughout my week, and based off of prior experience and trial and error, I just kind of know where I'm gonna need my rest, and that's it. Keep it simple. Look at the big picture, see where it fits in. Thoughts on Pilates versus weight training. So let's make it like a little more polarized. Let's say Pilates versus strength training, because you can use weights in Pilates. You also, if you're doing like reformer Pilates, you're gonna have resistance in that. And Pilates does fall under this branch of resistance training. Strength training just means that you're gonna be working at like a higher load. So overall thoughts on Pilates versus strength training. I think that both have benefits. I think that when you're choosing, you just kind of have to look at, again, like, what are your goals? What do you enjoy? I know that there are people out there who say that Pilates is enough and you never need to do strength training. I think that everyone has their own situations, but I also disagree with that. Unless in your Pilates training you are using heavy enough weight, like on a reformer, and really like loading up the springs to work at that higher load. And let me explain why. To get the benefits of strength training, again, you need to be working at a high enough intensity to develop that specific adaptation. And those specific adaptations include increased muscle mass, increased bone density, and a host of other things, but those are the two that I'm really thinking of in this case, because if you are not working at a high enough intensity when it comes to the load or the tension or the resistance that you're working under in Pilates, which a lot of times you just see people doing body weight forever and ever, which again is fine to a certain point, but you will not receive those same benefits of strength training and those specific adaptations. You're gonna receive a host of other benefits: increased stability, increased mind-body connection, increased core strength, better posture, all fantastic things. But over time, if you are not increasing that load or increasing that intensity in the form, again, of resistance that is going to produce these specific adaptations, you are not going to produce these specific adaptations. You will not increase your muscle mass. You will not increase your bone density. And then once you're, 65, you might have osteoporosis. So this is tough because, again, I'm not sitting here saying that Pilates is bad. I'm not saying that strength training is the only option. And also when I say strength training, people think that I mean like CrossFit or bodybuilding, and that's not what I mean. I simply mean picking up a weight that is heavy enough to produce a specific adaptation. And that weight is going to be different for everybody. But you see so many people right now, because Pilates is trending, saying that all you need for the rest of your life is your body weight. And I firmly disagree with that for the majority of the population. Those are my thoughts. That was a little hard to muddle through, but I think we got it. When lifting, how quickly should you increase in weight? This honestly depends on your goals. This depends on how quickly you're adapting to the weight that you're lifting. If you want to know a little bit more about like how to determine a good weight for you, I made a video all about that in the past. But yeah, this one it really, really depends on a lot of factors. But I would just say, like, after, 10 to 14 reps of something, if you feel like you've got a lot more in the tank, you're probably going too light. Landmine exercise, yes or no? So a landmine, it's going to be like a barbell put into this pivot point. And I really love landmines for people who have limited overhead mobility for whatever reason, whether it's a shoulder injury, whether it's simply that they just lack a lot of overhead mobility. So it's a great way to get that vertical press in if you don't have full range of motion. So I'm going to say it's a yes. Hi, is it harmful to train the same muscle 2 days in a row? It depends. Like, not inherently, but if you're doing, like, let's say you're doing glutes on one day, like glutes and hamstrings or whatever, and you did squats and deadlifts and sumo squats and bridges and hip thrusts and single leg deadlifts and all of these things, like, you probably want to rest those muscles the next day. But if you're just doing 2 full body days in a row and you do like some squats, and then the next day you do some deadlifts, like, that's fine. I would say don't overthink it and just listen to your body. What should your starting position be for a dumbbell shoulder press? So let's first talk about what we don't want. We don't want to be all the way out here. This is not putting the shoulder in a great position, and you're really exposing yourself to injury for this anterior delt. So instead, you simply want to bring it into this, we call it the scapular plane, kind of this diagonal, and that's where you're going to press. Personally, I actually prefer doing this single arm due to muscle imbalances that you see side to side in a lot of people. Also, I find it's easier for people to keep their core engaged, and I actually prefer to bring the arm all the way in and press from here. My personal preference, you can do whatever you want. Struggling to feel my deadlifts, any tips? Watch this video right here. You have to make sure that you are activating your glutes. If you are not feeling Okay, anyway, watch that video, activate your glutes. What do you think should be included in a functional workout targeted for dancers? That's a great question. Just off the top of my head, single leg exercises, core and glute strength, hip and ankle mobility, and I would say your calves as well, specifically really focusing on strengthening your Achilles tendon. Good question. I accidentally got a 35-pound kettlebell. What should I do with it? It's too heavy for swings. So if it's too heavy for swings, it's probably too heavy for like bent over rows too. That's pretty heavy for bent over rows. I would say do some squats with it. Goblet squats, maybe sumo squats held in between the legs. You can do like an offset deadlift with it, a narrow chest press on the floor. There's a lot of options. And I know you, so if you want more options and more specifics, just send me a message. A video where you explain the differences between aerobic and anaerobic would be really helpful. I think I talk about it in this video, and if not, editing Justina is gonna put nothing up here, but I talk about it in that. Tips for knee strength, right here. Also, if you have pain in your knees, go see your physical therapist. Cycling through different types of workouts if you enjoy them all, but do want some consistency. I think you have to define what consistency means to you. Does consistency mean sticking to just moving and making sure you're actually doing your workouts, or is it working toward a specific goal or a specific skill? So I think you have to answer that question before I can even give you any guidance on this. How do you know if a workout was good? What's your goal? Are you trying to master certain kettlebell skills, but you didn't touch a kettlebell during your workout? Probably not the best workout for you. If you're just trying to be consistent with your workouts and you did one, I'd say it's good. So again, little more information here. What does good mean to you? In the same vein, is body weight cardio effective? What does effective mean to you? What are your goals? Again, really getting specific. How to pistol squat, and is mastering it beneficial? I think that if mastering this specific skill is something you want to do, that is a great goal, and you're going to get some other benefits out of that, like single leg strength, core strength, mind body connection, ankle mobility. Great benefits right there. Do I think that everyone needs to be able to do a pistol squat? No. I just don't. I don't think that you need to do this for daily life. I think there's other things that are going to benefit people more. But again, if you want to learn how to do a pistol squat, great goal. Okay. We're gonna cut the video off there. I know that I didn't get to a number of questions, but I think this video is gonna be like an hour long, and that's way too long. So let me know if you guys enjoyed this. And again, if I didn't really answer your question, I hope that I gave you guys some ideas of how to ask better questions. Any other questions, make sure you leave them down in the comments below. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out, and I will see you all in the next one.